There we go. We got 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker podcast from Knox City, Texas. I am Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver. How you doing, Andy?
I am doing excellent. It's a little muggy in here today. I should have left that other air conditioner going.
Yeah, it's kind of warming up. With us today is another guy like Sean Dwyer from the, what's the fishing show called? I can't think of the damn thing.
Deadliest Catch.
Deadliest Catch. To a few other people we've had. To this guy has got to get special jeans to get his balls tucked up in them because you got to have a set to do what he does. From Haskell, Texas, the world champion bullfighter, Weston Rutkowski. How are you doing, Weston?
Doing well. How about y'all?
We're doing good. Does that chair, like, you just sit in like a normal chair for all the time?
Yeah. Just in the good old office chair.
I didn't know if you had like special padding or something like that for the nutsack that you must have on you or something special.
I get that quite a bit, but to be honest, you know, it's cool just to continue being an athlete. You know, growing up out in West Texas, everybody thinks about, you know, going on and playing in college ball and hoping to be a professional someday. And that's just cool for me to still be able to put on the cleats.
Now, what year did you graduate from high school?
Yeah, I graduated in 2008.
He was part of the team that whipped your ass your senior year, Andy.
You must have been then. You'd have been a sophomore, though.
2008. What was that? Round 1, I think.
We
District championship game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's when we were in district with y'all and like rotating and all that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So 05 was the year we went to Haskell. We had to beat y'all by 11. We ended up losing, and then y'all came over to Knox City the next year and beat us there too. So.
What grade?
Friday Night Lights.
Fucking Josh Barbie still got bad memories.
That man, I always told him if he ever learned how to fight bulls, I'd be out of a job real quick.
He's a quick little fucker. There's no doubt about it.
Oh man, that boy has some wheels. I bet he's still fast as hell.
Probably. Him and Cameron Short are the two guys that I remember just gave us fits all night long.
Yeah.
So
yeah, those were two studs for sure.
now, how did you get into bullfighting?
You know, growing up out there, my uncle's rodeoed and just kind of always being around the rodeo scene with Wild Horse Prairie Days there in town, and then going over to Stanford over the 4th of July. I just always kind of enjoyed being around it, and there was no really rhyme or reason, but I just always found myself wanting to be in the back pen around the bulls. And the older I got, mom and dad let me get on some junior bulls and really sparked an interest in wanting to become a bull rider at a young age. And as I got older, I just that bug never left me. And lo and behold, got out of high school, thought I was going to go play college football, and that didn't pan out, and started getting on bulls and got serious about it. And man, one day, buddy asked me to help him out, and I stepped in and helped him while he was getting on, and it just clicked. It was like a light bulb went off, and it was just from there. I was like, man, this is exactly what I want to do. And I honestly only got on one more bull after that.
Where were you going to play college ball at?
I tried to go down to Brenham, Blinn College. I got an offer to come to, like, an invite for a tryout. Went down there, tried out, made the team, but they told me, like, pretty much they told me flat out, was like, hey, you've got a lot of work to do and you got a lot of weight to put on. And I met some of the receivers there, and I thought they were middle linebackers, of course, coming from a 1A town. I looked at Dad and said, Dad, I don't think I'm going to get to play much. And he said, look, I can remember it clear as day, looking, of course, square in my eyes. He said, I don't think so either, son.
You're too white, son. You're just too white.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like, you're not dark enough to be here, so you should probably think about doing something else.
That's where Cam Newton. That's where Cam Newton went to school too, wasn't it?
That was the year that I showed up. So they were talking about the quarterback coming from Florida. Hey, we got a new quarterback coming. He's supposed to be badass, you know, this and that. And,
he was.
Of course, I didn't know who he was. Then he goes to Blinn, wins the JUCO national championship, then goes over to Auburn. I was like, man, I guess I could have played with him, but I guess I could have suited out with him. I guess is what I should have said.
Now, don't take this the wrong way, but is that kind of like a last chance U type school?
It's
like, why was Cam going to Blinn from Florida?
Cam was there because it was his last chance because he'd gotten caught. He got kicked off Florida for stealing and all kinds of shit.
I felt like a laptop or something like that. I can't remember what else, but Blinn is a powerhouse for junior,
Yep.
like for JUCO football.
Yep.
They'd won several national championships before he got there, and of course won another one, and he was there as well.
Now, they got big-time talent that go there. A lot of people don't realize how good a ball player's there, but they're just a transition, a 1 or 2 year deal to go to Division I. And then they got guys like you that are busting your ass to make the team that just want to keep playing football. And it's a hard deal. It's a tough stick for people. That's a hard deal for a lot of guys.
Yeah, they lined us up, and they pulled me aside and pretty much laid down the ground rules for me to even have a shot. And they said you had to run faster than 4 or 5.40, couldn't drop a ball, and do something to make us recognize you. And of course I was one of 8 white boys there, so I already stood out. But, they lined us up with an Olympic sprinter in the 4, and he ran a 4.28 there. I remember thinking, where the hell am I at?
Yeah, that's some cheetah speed there.
What did you run?
Yeah, I ran a 4.49, so I barely made the cut.
4.4. That's booking it though.
Yeah, that's the first time I'd ever been timed. Of course, we don't do any time stuff, or we didn't then. I don't know if they do now, but yeah, it was the first time I was on the clock, and I was like, oh, I guess I can be a little quick every now and then.
But you played receiver?
I did not. There in Haskell, we ran the option every play, so you would know.
Yeah.
Another great athlete from Haskell, or to me is a great athlete, is Josh Webb, who was our basketball coach here for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's another one that would have been a great wide receiver if you'd have thrown the football.
Yeah, he was a stud of an athlete. I think he was a senior when I was maybe 7th grade, something like that. I just remember him and Leon Godot and those guys. They're all really good at basketball, and they kind of changed the basketball culture around there.
Yeah,
so what position were you trying to go play there?
Receiver.
I played, of course, everything, but there in Haskell I played quarterback and corner. But I figured the only chance I'd have was just go try and be a receiver there.
So you left Blinn College and you become a bullfighter. Now, I've watched some YouTube stuff on you.
Yeah.
And all your YouTube stuff, I can't see where the bull beat you ever. Have you had your ass whooped by a bull?
It's a highlight video. We don't post the bad ones.
But I kept looking for the wrecks. I kept thinking, they're going to have one of him, and everybody else gets their ass whooped, but I haven't seen you get your ass whooped yet by one. Has it happened?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you can't be in this sport and not get your ass whipped. I would say this is probably the most humbling sport there is besides golf. I mean, it's a very cliche saying, blah, blah, mess with the bull, you get the horns, but the reality is that's the truth, and they will get you.
I told a guy in town, I said, yeah, we're going to have a world champion bullfighter on from Haskell. Mexican fella? I said, no, it's not bullfighting like you're thinking of.
Thought you had a sword and shit.
No, I said,
poking the bull.
Because he's like, what do they do with the bulls after they kill them? I said, no, it's not that kind of fighting,
Thank God. I don't know how you look in one of those outfits.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's pretty tight. It's a little shiny. That's not really my color.
But I laughed when he said, they're Mexican fella. I said, no, not that kind of fucking bullfighting.
Yeah, no, man, honestly, we get that all the time. They ask, hey, what do you do? I tell them I'm a bullfighter, and they all freak out. Oh, my gosh, you kill the bulls. And they're like, no. So most time I'll just tell somebody I'm a rodeo clown, because a lot of guys in my profession don't really like it, and they're like, oh, I'm not a rodeo clown, but for me, I don't have to explain it, so I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm a rodeo clown.
Yeah. Well, you paint your face, so it's close enough. It's
I paint my face and dress up.
So when you go to you won the national finals last year, correct?
So no, it's called Bullfighters Only. It's an organization that I've won the world titles in.
Okay, I'm going to ask what everybody's driving down the road that's listening to this is wondering: how much money do you win when you win something like that? What's the check for winning the main deal?
Yeah, to win the world, it's a $50,000 bonus.
That's a damn good bonus.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It makes the year a lot more worth it when you're, because to win an event, what we call a standalone event, it'd be like 12 to 15 guys. When it's just bullfights, you can win 10 to 12,000 in one night. But for the most part, we kind of dink and dunk. We'll hit $3,000 here, $5,000 there. Every now and then catch 6, 7, but there's only a handful of bigger events. But if you add them up over the year, it can be pretty good. But with the $50,000 bonus, it gives you a lot of incentive to keep going.
Well, you're a world champion, so I'm assuming it's like all rodeo stuff. The guy at the world champion's got a good life, but there's a whole lot of boys down there that are trying to get to your level that struggle because it's probably a hard living to do.
Yes, it's. I would consider. I mean, obviously, I've had my ups and downs in it. You know, I've been very fortunate in my career with a lot of wins, but I've also seen the other side of it in when it's hard to catch a win. You know, sometimes guys are on a roll and you can't catch a break type deal. So the cool thing about our organization is we're the premier organization in freestyle bullfighting. So for us to go to an event, it doesn't cost us any money as far as an entry fee. We're an invite. So we don't pay money up front just to enter, versus where like a bull rider in the PRCA or you know, your lower amateur ranks, they have to pay anywhere from $100 to $250 just to get on. So that is a cool thing about the BFO is we're an invitee, and then we show up and what we make is what we make, but we don't have to pay to play.
Do y'all coincide with the rodeos, like when y'all are having a bullfighters only?
Yeah. So actually, our next event will be in Reno, Nevada. Starts June 22nd, ends the 25th, I believe. It's a 4-day show. So it'll be a full-on PRCA rodeo from start to finish. And right after they buck the last bull, they'll announce, "Hey, stick around now. Here comes BFO," and they'll put up, because you know they keep the big arena wide open like they're in Stanford. They don't put anything up, but at the very end, they put up what we call a turnback fence so we can keep those fighting bulls close and where we can't get away.
So what makes a fighting bull? Like, is it a special breed? How do they find these bulls?
So a fighting bull is a special breed. Oh boy, I done pushed something here.
You're good. Yeah, there you go. Yep,
there we go. A fighting bull is an actual breed of a bull. So it's a Mexican fighting bull or a Spanish fighting bull. Basically, the only difference is over time, some of them Spanish fighting bulls crossed with some Corrientes and kind of created their own breed. But it's a true blood Spanish fighting bull hits the ground ready to fight. Mm-hmm. It's probably one of the oldest breeds of animals there is, because the oldest sport in the world is bullfighting. So basically, you can take a fighting bull and a fighting cow, make a baby, and on the very first hour it can walk, you could walk into the pen and that calf would try to get you.
Automatically.
That's just how they are. They're a fight or flight animal. So basically, if they're in the pasture, a lot of times they'd rather just get away mm-hmm. from you. But the moment you put them in a pen or an arena by themselves, it's game on from there.
Now, do they put that thing on the back of them like they do regular bucking bulls?
Yeah, so that's called a flank. But a lot of people don't know a flank does nothing to their genitals at all. Basically, the flank, all it does is puts pressure on their flanks, mm-hmm. their flank straps. And what it does is it keeps that animal moving forward. So the more times you fight that animal, they get pretty smart. And over in Spain, they'll kill them. They don't get smart, right? So over here, in order to keep that bull moving forward, we put a little tension on their back end to keep them at least moving. That way they're not just sitting there. But granted, I mean, sometimes they will, but that's just helps design to keep those bulls moving flat without keeping their head up the whole time.
Yeah, it's because I've watched a bunch of videos on it, and they just come out of the chute just looking for a freaking fight. And I wondered, I've just wondered how, but it makes a lot of sense that that's what they are bred to do, is to fight.
Yeah, it's no different than me showing up and putting on my cleats, or somebody else, going to the basketball gym, putting on their basketball shoes. When they load up to the arena and get put on that trailer and go to a different town, they know what they're there to do.
Now, when you're not the one in the middle of the arena putting on the show, I noticed one of the wrecks I saw, there was the bull got the boy down pretty tough between the fence and was whipping his ass. And I noticed other guys come in. Do y'all help each other? Is that part of your job after you go?
Yeah. So basically what we do is we just break it up into rounds. So like if I'm in round one, I've got two other guys I'm up against. We just protect the guys in our round. So if you were to go down, you were in my round, I'm responsible to help get you back up on your feet. I mean, it's just kind of the brotherhood you don't really see in other sports, whereas, in football, you tackle them, you leave them down type deal. But for us, nobody else is going to come do it. So we kind of just all take care of each other.
Will the bull ever like get tired of whipping that guy's ass and like get off of him on his own accord, or like do you have to pull him off?
So sometimes it happens, and sometimes it takes somebody else coming and getting them off you. Case in point, 2019, I got caught down in Corpus. A big fighting bull got me down, and the other guy there wasn't quite as fast as I'd like for him to be. But basically that fighting bull just had his way with me, just throwing me up and down, up against the pins. I just couldn't get away, and finally he just got tired of hooking me and walked off. I probably wouldn't be here today if he wouldn't have stopped.
Jeez. Do you watch footage? Like, if you know, like, you've got this bull coming up, will you watch kind of what his opening move is, or do you not want to know? Do you just want to kind of go with the flow?
So that's what's cool about our event is, like, bull riders and bronc riders and all those, or football, you know what you've got. It's like, I know what horse I'm getting on if I go there. Bull riding, same thing. Football, you know what team you're playing. You get to study for them. But in my sport, we don't know until right before we go.
How long? How long do you have?
You have about 30 seconds by the time you know from the time you fight.
Oh, shit.
So, the reason being is those animals are so hard to sort in the back because they're already on the fight. Rather than stressing them out and taking all the fight out of them in the back pen, we just shoot run them. And what we do as bullfighters, we draw a position. So we know if we're first, second, or third in that round, but we don't know what bull we're in or what bull we have until we walk up. That's why if you watch a lot of those videos, all of us walk up and look over the chute and like, oh, what do I got? And then it's kind of like, whew, I drew around that bull. Oh, shit. Like, there's just – but that is also it's an advantage is you're not up all night sweating that big, sour sucker that you don't want to fight. Like, you've got a chance to draw around him, and then the day of, literally 30 seconds before, you found out you have him. So you didn't sweat it all night. Now it's like, oh, well, there's no backing out now. Here we go.
Shit, man. I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know if I'd rather know and like just get prepared for the ass whipping, or just like you said, like you got 30 seconds, lights are on, let's do this, man.
I don't think I could wait for the bully in the parking lot the next day at 3 p.m. I think I'd just rather show up and fight him.
That's fair enough.
What really sucks, though, is when you have an oh shit moment in your situation, it's a damn sure an oh shit moment.
Yeah, those moments are not fun, and the reality of it is it just depends on how bad it's going to be. Yeah. I've seen a lot of wrecks and some very, very, very bad ones. I've seen, some guys being paralyzed. I've seen heads stepped on. Hell, I got my head ripped open. You name it. But you just never know. Like you could see one and think, oh, that don't look that bad, and it end up being one of the worst ones. Physically there has been, and then there's other ones that look awful, and then the guy stands up and walks off and doesn't have a bruise on him. So you just never know, to be flat out on.
Now, were you to the point in your career, like when you have an oh shit moment, like there's truly like no getting out? Because I imagine like you kind of have a way of like, okay, if he does this, I've got an out here, I've got an out here. Like your oh shit moment, it's got to be like you have no moves left.
So I guess I've been in this game long enough to know the only oh shit moment I have is how bad am I going to hurt later. So like I know that in the moment, like I can get out. Like it's just like being in a fight. I would assume for a UFC fighter, like they see the fight, they see the punches coming. They can glance them off and all that, keep fighting. And then for me myself, like when I'm fighting that animal, it's super slow-mo and I'm making him do what I want. But when he does catch me, it's just basically my only mindset I think is how bad did he just get me? Because I know how my adrenaline works and how much I can put up with. But in 2 hours, how bad is it going to be?
Do you feel much? Like, do you think back to some of your bigger wrecks, do you feel anything, or is your adrenaline going just at such an RPM to where it's kind of, it's happening, but you really don't feel a whole lot of pain?
The ones you feel are the serious ones. And serious, it meaning like knocking your hip out of place. Like I had my hip dislocated. I've when I broke my ribs. I mean, I've done that several times, but you just can't quite get over. You know what it feels like when you break a rib. So that, but like when I had my head ripped open, and people think, "Oh my gosh, that's so bad." I didn't even know what happened. I just thought that basically he just kicked me in the back of the head, and I went on and finished the bullfight, and I thought I felt something wet, so I just rubbed my neck, and I looked down, and my hand looked like I'd put it in a paint bucket.
I saw I couldn't find the fight where it happened, but I saw the staples, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'd have to go back in my deals and look for that.
But he just hit you in the back of the head.
Yeah, his dew claw. Like I tried to run and jump him, and he caught me. He'd been jumped before. Like I said, them animals get smart, so he just met me in the air, knocked me down, took my feet out from under me, and the way I was just trying to get out of there, and the way he stepped on me and planted that dew claw just sliced my head open.
And you finished the fight.
Yeah, that was one that everybody's like, "Oh my gosh!" But like I said, I didn't know it even happened. I just thought he kind of kicked me and grazed me.
So did you get to move on to round 2 and not do it, or was that the end of it?
That particular day was one of the beginning events for the finals in 2017. Yeah, 17, and I didn't win my round, but I still moved on, and then I ended up winning the world that next week. So kind of all paid off.
Next week, you're fighting bulls with staples in your head.
Yeah, I had 16 staples in my head that happened on a Thursday, and I fought my next bull Monday.
When you go to a rodeo, which class of guy, what competitor shows up as a pretty boy that never looks like he's banged up? Is it the ropers?
Honestly, man, if you rodeo on my end of the box, everybody's beat up.
Well, I can see that in y'all's deal. Bull riders, bullfighters, bronc riders.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the time of year. You catch guys in the winter that are all, pumped and ready to hit the road and all that type shit. But as far as rough stock goes, or the roughies, if you want to call it, man, all of us are all pretty much have something banged up, and they're just not really showing it too much. As far as the team ropers go, I honestly, I don't know many of them. Well, they're all it's just a whole different world. They're on the other end of the arena. They dress out somewhere else. So, I mean, other than the few buddies of mine that rope that I know, I really don't interact with a whole lot of them.
I see there's not a lot of brotherhood between the ropers and the other guys is what we're hearing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that. I mean, it's not like I hate them. I know. I mean, like I said, a lot of them are my good friends. It's just such a different world over there. Like we're on one end of the arena, they're on the other. We all get ready in different spots, and they like I said, they take up parking lots, and we come in a little bitty truck or a van or whatever we can get.
I've always, if you're going to get in a squabble with somebody at a rodeo, you pick out a guy roping. You don't want to do anybody riding a fucking bull or fighting a bull because you ain't going to hurt them.
That or don't fight a steer wrestler.
Oh, those are some big tough guys right there too.
yeah, those boys.
Yeah, they will get their hands on your ass. They got you. So,
when
you so do you also do any when they have these big events? Do y'all do any of the clowning, or does that all separate guys that are doing that nowadays?
So there's times where I work the bull riding and protection, and then fight a bull at the end of it as well. So it just kind of depends on where the rodeo's at and who has contracts. So like I go to all these bullfights, and that's mainly what I'm known for is my freestyle abilities. But I also work protection as well. And in that world, I'm an independent contractor. So if you were putting on a rodeo and needed a bullfighter, you obviously do your due diligence, do some research, and figure out the kind of guys you want. And say you were to hire me to do the protection for the bull riding, and then you decide you wanted to put on a bullfight. Well, hell, I'm already there. I'm going to enter type deal. But there's a lot of guys who just work the protection, and then there's guys like me who come in and do the bullfights who didn't have the protection gig.
What do you use? What do you wear for protection? You wear a vest?
Yeah, we wear like a thin plastic, but it kind of molds to you. It's not Kevlar, but basically it's designed like football pads, just not as bulky. Just designed to kind of disperse that blow versus allowing somebody to really dig in on you. And then as far as the leg goes, I just wear baseball sliders.
That's it. God almighty.
Yeah. I try not to wear it too much. I mean, I know a lot of guys wear like hockey pad sliders and stuff like that, but I mean, I'll wear every now and then, depending on how beat up I am. I've got some football type girdle sliders that I can wear, but for the most part, I try to stay as slim and agile as possible. That way, I stay fast.
Yeah, that's not a fat boy sport you're in. I'm telling you right now.
No, sir.
Have you worked the? Have you ever entered into the one here in Stanford, the Cowboy Reunion?
No, I haven't. You know, I've made a few phone calls. I guess have been last year before. I was kind of wanting to work the protection, just to say I did it once, because that's basically the rodeo that made me wanted to be a cowboy type deal. But yeah, it's the sad reality of it is when you reach the professional level, the 4th of July is the busiest time of the year. That's Cowboy Christmas is what we call it, and if you're in Texas over the 4th of July, it means you're probably not doing it right. So all the big rodeos are up in the Northwest and all that. So it's, I mean, yes, I'd love to work it someday, but it's also a good thing that I'm not available during the 4th of July, because being on the road up in Cody and Colorado and all them areas is where the big dollars are at.
Yeah. Now, so what's your season basically? Are you in season? Are you coming into season? You said the 4th is like your peak. So what's your dates?
Well, in this world, it just depends on your skill level. I mean, really, it's year round. The phone can ring and you got to go. But as of right now, like this year, January I had completely off. February we had a big event in Fort Worth. Ended up winning that. March is typically very busy for me. I go down and work Rodeo Austin, and that's a 15-day rodeo, but they canceled on us this year again.
COVID?
Yes, sir, for the second year in a row. And then April is just kind of a couple here and there, and May is usually very slow. I lucked out and got one of my rodeos in April moved to May, so that helped, Corpus Christi. And then I just got back from Del Rio. I worked what they call as the George Paul Memorial Bull Riding, also known as the Super Bull, one of the original bull riding only events. So just got back from Del Rio, and now I've got 2 weeks off, and it's fixing to be hot and heavy. I'll be busy basically from June. I think it starts the 15th or 16th until the end of September.
Wow. How many times a week will you have to go?
So that's what's cool about like my event is I can either be a contestant and enter bullfights and go to 2 to 4 a week, or I can have work protection and be in one spot all weekend. Mm-hmm. So basically the way I fill my year up is I will book all my rodeos that I know that I have or that I'm working on contract wise, and I'll put all those hard dates down knowing I'll be in Burwell, Nebraska for these 4 days, right? Working protection, and then say the next 2 weeks I have off. Well, then I start booking the BFO bullfights. That way I can fill my weekends while I'm on the road.
What do you have to do? Win one of those to qualify for the championships?
For Las Vegas?
Yes.
So to get an invite to Las Vegas, you have to be in the top 12 in the standings.
Okay.
So winning one bullfight would help, but it wouldn't get you to Vegas.
How do they judge these things? Is it?
So it's judged. Oh boy, I guess I need to go find a charger real quick. Hold on.
Okay.
Hang tight.
What a cool story to go from Haskell, Texas, playing football, went to Blinn College to try out to doing this.
I'm telling you.
Doing something he likes to do to make a living. Capitalism.
Right.
Not liberalism. We got storms starting to fire southeast of here too.
We got another inch of rain last night.
Yep, an inch and a half over at one of our roost lakes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Mosquitoes were terrible. They were about to carry me away.
I heard that they were real bad at baseball last night. I guess at Hamlin, Fred and them played a baseball tournament. Storms at Snyder are going to be, if they grow up to, we just put us in a severe thunderstorm watch.
Any naders, or is it all just?
Chance tonight. Thursday's going to be a big tornado day, it looks like.
You think so?
Yeah.
For us?
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. It could be north of here.
Well, if y'all get it, that means it's coming here.
Yeah, y'all
don't need no rain.
Y'all had a bunch this morning, didn't you?
It's rained every day for 3 weeks, I feel like.
Haskell had an inch and a half last night, I saw.
Yeah, I went home a couple weeks ago to fill some protein feeders, and heck, I think it rained 2 inches in 6 hours.
Just for the record, so everybody knows, because we said you're from Haskell. Weston's moved on to bigger and better things. He's over there with Steve Barber at Pecan Plantation with the millionaires.
What is Pecan? I've never been. Is it a big community? How big? How many houses are there?
It is surprisingly big. I don't know the acreage on it, but if I had to guess, I would bet there's a good 30,000 acres in there.
And the deer are insane, right?
I haven't. I see they're all just butting right now, but I've heard there's some good deer.
Yeah, my buddy that lives there told us they see 170-inch deer walking around feeding in your flower beds.
I'm gonna have to sit that riverbed.
And then, I guess they had a contract where somebody would come in and they had to do it. They had to do it at night because you got all these bunny huggers that are in there, and they didn't want to see these deer being taken away. But you got quite a issue there with the deer pulling up your petunias.
Yeah, they're everywhere. I mean, we had 15 in them in our backyard last week. So if there's a 170-inch deer, that sucker may be drug into the ground.
You're gonna see one. I promise you. From what I understand, it's really there's a lot of big deer.
Well,
I think it's a lot like around Possum Kingdom.
I tons of deer over there too. But if that's the case, I'm gonna have to talk with some neighbors.
So to qualify for Vegas, you got to be in the top 12, and you got to win more than one event to make it. Now,
I mean, not necessarily win. You just have to place at several throughout the year. You know, it just basically depends on who's doing what and what the majority of guys are throughout to see what that bottom line is to see who makes it or not.
Do you when you go to Vegas for the BFO? Is it simultaneous to the national finals, or is it a whole different event and a different time?
So it's the BFO is a completely different event. We put it on at the same time, meaning the same dates as the NFR, but we put it on during the day. So where the NFR would start at 6 at night, we do ours at 2 p.m.
So did y'all do y'all's in Arlington this year also, or did y'all go to Vegas last year?
We did. We did ours at Cowtown. Yeah, we did ours there at the stockyards. They were in Arlington. We did ours at the stockyards.
Are y'all going to Vegas next year, or is the NFR going to stay in Arlington this year, or is it going back to Vegas?
So all the hearsay is that Vegas is supposed to open up full throttle June 1st, so we will be back in Las Vegas this year.
I bet the city of Arlington pushes hard to get that again, though.
Yeah, I bet they do, and it was cool, in my opinion, for 1 year, but it ain't Vegas, and it never will be.
No.
Vegas is bright lights, big money. You know, you don't go to bed if you don't want type deal. But it's as far as what's the word I'm looking for? The atmosphere, you can't beat it. You know, everybody's out there on vacation wanting to have fun, and Vegas just turns into a cowboy town, whereas Arlington, if you weren't at Globe Life, you didn't even know the rodeo was there.
Vegas is a destination. It turns, like you said, into a cow town. And the people I know in Vegas tell me the funnest times to be in Vegas is when the NFR's in town and when they have the porn show. They say those are the two best weekends of the whole year.
The porn show's when SHOT Show is.
Yes.
SHOT Show.
Yeah.
They get all those big money guys spending money on guns and put a bunch of porn stars in front of them.
Yeah, see, I went to the hunting convention, but I don't think porn show is something I ever was interested in going to.
So when you're in Vegas and you're set to compete, like, do you not partake in Vegas until after your event?
I become a very selfish individual when it comes to Las Vegas.
Taking care of business.
Yeah, very so I'm in Vegas for 16 days when the finals starts out there. So
that's a long time in Vegas.
Basically, you check in, you give yourself a day or two to kind of go out, have fun, and you're with your core group of friends because nobody's in Vegas in 16 days unless they're there to compete.
Man, that's a long time in Vegas.
And yeah, so really like the first 48 hours, we kind of get in, get settled, and enjoy it. But people start rolling in, and you don't mean it mean, but I just don't reply. You know, everybody's coming in wanting to have fun and wanting to see you, but when you're there to compete, and that's when all the money's on the line, if you even slightly give in to any of that, you know, you'll be up all night, and then the next day, you know, you don't want to be fighting bull hungover and your leg's tired. So it's basically just a time for me to take care of business and put all family and friends aside.
Have you ever fought bulls hungover?
I have at a rodeo, yes, but never
Never for big money.
What?
Is
No.
it hard? Like, did you notice that you were a little off?
Oh yeah, your timing's off. You don't feel good. It's just the whole 9 yards of basically not taking care of business. If you were to eat a salad and drink some water beforehand instead of boozing all night and trying to slam a gator right before you go out there and run laps, it's night and day different. So yeah, I did it once just because I didn't really realize the next day was a day perf. I thought it was a night perf, and I had time to recover, and turns out I didn't. So it wasn't that I did it on purpose by any means.
I think that there's a misconception that all the people working at the rodeos, the cowboys, whatever, are out partying all the time. And at that level, it's a serious deal. And
It's business.
yeah, it's a business deal. Do y'all have a lot of roadies following the BFO?
I really wouldn't say yes. Just to touch on what you said, though, it's changed so much. The 60s, 70s, and 80s was rodeo cowboy rock star lifestyle. It was blow and go type deal. Party as long as you want, get on whatever, and just have fun with it. To where really it's changed into guys that really look at this as an athletic mindset and what they what are they capable of if they were to put in some time and effort into it. And it's especially in the fighting bull industry. It's like the guys who fight them. There's a lot of kids that go in and grind extremely hard trying to just prepare for this. But to answer your question about roadies, not necessarily throughout the year, but in Vegas, that's when they all come out. They don't care who it is or what it is. They're there to party and hang out. And if you're somebody and a part of some organization, they'll all be there.
See, Andy's becoming world famous because of this podcast now.
It's hard.
And he's had a hard time adjusting to autographs and stuff. Was it hard for you to get used to signing autographs?
Oh man, I would say yes, it still is for me. Especially coming from such a small town. It was pretty surreal. To leave there and people be wearing my jerseys and come to events and recognize who I am, and it's still weird. Like I wouldn't say that I'm not a fan of it because it's cool to be recognized, but at the end of the day, it's also like, man, I'm just a normal guy. It's just so happens that I fight bulls.
You're just plain old fucking Weston when you're in Haskell, Texas, but when you're everywhere else, you're a celebrity.
Yeah, I'm just the kid that grew whiskers way after he graduated.
You go to Rodriguez Inn and you're just Weston. That's all you are.
That's it. Yeah. Hey, Weston, you want some of these combos? Hell yeah, I want some of them combos.
Is that your? Do you miss that when you're? Do you miss Rodriguez Inn burritos when you're not there?
Absolutely. And the sad thing is the older I've gotten, the more I've started paying attention to like nutrition and really trying to push my body to the limits. And I go home and I'm like, damn, I wish I wasn't on this diet. I'd be headed to Rod's.
Get behind me, devil.
See, I grew up in Wichita Falls. My wife's from here, and my kids. They all love Rodriguez Inn. That's their That's their comfort food. I'm not a big fan of theirs, but man, all of my kids do. My grandkids love them.
How are you not a fan?
I hate it.
It's just not my type of thing. It's Taco Bell to me. It's just not nothing great.
Taco Bell? Are you high?
Who is this
I
guy?
just
What
not.
the hell?
It's a local thing. Everybody local. That's their go-to food.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. You're probably going to lose a lot of followers.
But everybody out here just loves rods, and.
Yeah, well, it's the staple of does this place have good hot sauce? Well, all right, that's the measure. Now that I go out and go elsewhere, I'm like, all right, well, let's try their chips and hot sauce, and if it doesn't compare, I don't want to eat there.
My niece is in her husband's in the Army, and they're in Washington, and she told my wife the other day, she goes, God, I can't wait to have a combo plate when I come back home. That's all she's thinking about. And I'm thinking, you're in Seattle, all the great places to eat, and you're worried about eating Rod's combo plate.
You got fish market. You got all sorts of stuff up there, and all you want's combo. You before you needed your charger, you were going to explain how these events are judged.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so our event is judged just like other rough stock events in that there's 100 points on a maximum scale. There's 50 points for the bull, and there's 50 points for the fighter. It's basically up to 50 points depending on how well the bull fights. Does he stay engaged the entire time? Is he really hard to get around? Is he running me over left and right? Is he fast? Is he staying basically on my ass the entire time? Or So if he was doing that, he would have a higher bull score of, say, like a 44 to 46, right? Whereas if that bull just kind of comes at me, makes a pass, and then makes a lap out of the arena, comes back at me, makes a pass, and goes around the arena, like he'd have a lot lower bull score. Whereas now on the fighter end is, am I controlling that animal? Am I making him move left and right and keeping him really close, keeping him engaged? Or am I running for my life, getting run over up and down the panels, that type deal. So if you're running from them or getting run over, you're going to have a low score. If you're in control the entire time, you'll have a higher score. So that's where you get the combined points from.
So if a bull flips you over, if you're on his horns, you probably going to lose some points on your end.
Yeah, so it can get technical. Yes, if the bull continues to run you over. No, if that bull flips you, you hit your back, jump back up, and get to work, and then you take control back to him. You'll both have higher scores.
Because there was a video I saw of you, and I think it was one of the championships that you won. You got flipped over on the ground, but you got right back up, and you re-engaged with the bull. And so I was wondering, how it would be to where, he got you.
So that in that instance with me getting hooked, probably what happened was the other guys got hooked and continued to get hooked. So whereas, like, if I got hooked and put on a good bullfight afterwards versus a guy put on a really good bullfight and didn't get hooked, he would win.
Right. Okay. Because I think you had like an 89 score or something like that.
Yeah. Probably a really good bull, and then with me hopping back up, that the judges really liked it.
So what do you have to do? I mean, can you manipulate the score at all? Like if you know that you got to score an 89. Are there anything that you can do to like put on a show to get to that 89?
No. So in order to have a score in order to have a score in the bullfight, you have to make it 40 seconds, right? So in the bull riding, everybody talks about they have to make it 8 seconds to get a qualified ride. In a bullfight, you have to make it 40 seconds. So you have a maximum of 60 seconds, but in order to have a qualified fight, you fight for 40 seconds. And once that first horn goes off, you have an additional 20 seconds to get what we call a sell, meaning one more big move, something to wow the crowd. So I guess in an instance of like what you're asking is if you put on a good bullfight and somebody else was about the same, you have an additional 20 seconds to go do one more big trick to what you think is get over that other guy's score.
Mm-hmm. So what would that be? Like, would that be like jumping over the bull? Is it like, what would be like the wow thing that could possibly get you over?
Oh man, it just depends. You can jump bulls, you can do barrel hops where you run and grab a hold to the barrel, the bull hits the barrel instead of you. I've seen front flips, I've seen back flips, I've seen guys get on their knees and throw a fake. And then I've just seen guys basically just throw one more fake and tip their hat and get out. So there's not really a rhyme or reason other than what are you willing to do to win the game.
Right.
So basically at the end of it is, do you know what your other guys – you may be the first guy out the box, so you don't know what everybody else has. So this is your one chance to put up the highest score you have. So, I mean, a lot of times you'll see guys go jump them or something – a lot more ballsy right at the very end.
I see the videos that I've seen. The guy jumps it. He like starts out jumping. Is that a judgment call, or how do you decide like your opening move?
Yeah, man, I wish I knew.
Just feel.
The best game plan is no game plan. So, but like a lot of guys jump bulls at the very beginning because that's when they're their hottest, meaning they're fastest, which means you don't have to jump as high. So if they're coming at you 90 miles an hour and you jump, they're through your legs in an instant versus at the end where he's kind of checked up and watching you. Now I have to not only jump high enough, but I have to jump long enough.
Because he's going to be slower. He's not going to go as fast underneath you.
Now he's reading you because he's not. Yeah, instead of right out of the box, that's when they're their truest, is what we say. Is like usually 9 times out of 10 they're going to take the very first move because they've been behind a black wall for 5 minutes waiting on you.
So it's a minute, 60 seconds you're in there with him?
Yes,
That's
sir.
a long 60 seconds. You thought if UFC for 3 minutes was a tough round?
5 minutes
Or
in
five?
UFC.
Fuck that. I'd rather do 5 minutes in UFC ring than have to do 60 seconds with the freaking bull.
I don't know. UFC, you're getting punched no matter what. At least in the bullfight world, you got a chance to get out without getting
You've
caught.
got a good shot at getting out on minimal damage.
I don't think people realize how good athletes these bulls are. It's like a rhinoceros. I mean, they're fast and mobile and they can move. You're not.
What do they weigh?
Well, like 2,000 pounds.
I'd say an average fighting bull is about
1,100.
They're really quick then.
Yeah. On the heavy end, 14.
What would you rather? What is your ideal bull? Would you rather it be on the smaller side and a little quicker, or would you rather it be like this 1,400-pound thing that might not have as quickness?
I want little and fast.
You do.
So that's when I'm at my best. Because in a bull that's fast and kind of gets after me, I don't get in my own way. With the slower bull, like I already see it slow enough. With the slower bull, I have too much time and I try to do too much. Whereas with the younger bull, I can just get to work and I'm just reading and reacting.
Right.
Do you see the same bulls on the circuit the whole year?
We see a lot of bulls over and over. Yes. Basically, it's more regional. So, like when we go to Reno, we'll fight a guy. His name's Manuel. He's from California. We'll fight his bulls. Then from there, we'll go to Broken Bow, Nebraska. And we'll fight a guy named I just went blank. His full throttle fighting bulls, and then come down south, we'll fight penthouse bulls, and so on and so forth. And basically, the only time we see all the bulls in one spot is Vegas.
Now, is there a bull that you've seen that you're just like, oh fuck, I got him again?
I don't know. To me, that I enjoy the challenge. So yes, there are bulls that that are no fun to get around and you're not going to win on. So like I kind of dread those bulls. Like you're pretty much just nodding to nod. And you're added money at that point. But as far as treacherous wise, there's probably one bull right now
that's not me. Is that you or is that me?
I guess that's me. I don't know how to turn it off.
Right. No, I just want to make sure it wasn't me.
Hold on. No, let me see if I can figure it out.
It's no big deal, bud. I promise.
Yeah, fuck. To hell with them.
Yeah. It's this laptop. I don't know how to do it. Close it. Okay. Hold on 1 sec. Got it figured out. Close the computer. That's all you got to do.
Oh, that's
so. But no, there's a bull. His name's Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner.
And
he's rather treacherous.
He is. I would say Hugh is probably 1,600, and probably has 2.5 foot horns on each side, and is smart and fast. I fought him in 2018 and got away from him. I mean, he was pretty much up underneath me the entire time, but I got away from him, ended up winning the event. But since then, man, he has been on a terror of just wiping people out. He's the real deal with not only size but speed as well. But he's one of those scary bulls in the fact of like he don't want to just hook you, he'd rather kill you type deal.
And what do you attribute it to? Like, is he just figuring out the game? Like, is he's just evolving to where he knows?
Older you get, more outs you have, the smarter they get.
Really, a freaking bull of all things.
That's why a lot of guys don't like drawn into them older bulls, and I like myself fighting a young bull that's young and dumb. Like I'd rather do that every day of the week. But the reality is, in order to win world titles, you have to go through the old bulls and know how to handle them.
Hugh Hefner. How old is he?
Shoot, probably, I'd say 7.
What's
6, 7.
What's their longevity? What's their career like for a bull? 7, 8, 9, 10?
And it's cool. It's pretty cool in the fact that they're a lot like athletes, like us. Depends on their heart. You say you draw a young fight bull, comes out there and is really, really mean and aggressive and doesn't get anybody down in his first 2 or 3 outs. Sometimes they'll just quit you and never fight again. They learn that they can't get you versus, another bull goes out there and wipes the first 2 people out and gets that taste of blood.
That's crazy.
He may be a good fighting bull for 10 years. So it just really depends on how they're handled and what their luck is as far as they draw.
Sounds crazy, but like you got to kind of feed their ego and give them a couple of easy wins. I'd hate to have that job, but
yeah, that's one of those deals. So it's contractors usually take new bulls to small events way off in the middle of nowhere with kids who are still trying to learn. Like they're not big bulls yet, so they're not going to hurt somebody, but they'll go get that taste of blood. Like they're pretty smart with who they let have their first outs, because if they bring their first out to town, a lot of times if you were to bring them to a big event, could be a big no-no.
It's like Jurassic Park, you know.
You got to give them a little chum.
Yeah. So, where do you practice at? Do you have a place around Fort Worth that you go practice and wrestle with deals, or do you not do much practicing? Just
so basically, it depends on where my mindset is and the time. Like there's times where, you know, you don't feel like you're fighting your best or reading at your best, and I'll search out a practice pen around here. I don't know anybody here in this particular area with us just moving here, but Troy Bradshaw lives 30 minutes down the road. He's the one who owns Penthouse and owns Hugh Hefner. So every now and then he'll let me come fight his heifers and young bulls that I'm not going to go show them anything, and where I can get some work but still let them win, quote unquote. Let them chase me up the fence type deal. But for the most part, I just really try and stay on top of my personal training. To me, if I'm in the gym and working on my agilities, my speed ladders and sprints, that's when I'm my fastest and my sharpest mentally. So that's really where I focus on, is the gym versus the practice.
Does Bobby Witt own a bull? Does he own a stock company? Do you know Bobby used to play for the Rangers, used to pitch for him?
Bobby Witt. I know the name, but I don't know that he owns.
He used to have a rodeo stock company or partners in one of them or something, and that's been a long time ago. I just was curious if he still was doing it.
Is he in this area?
He lives in
So I know exactly what you're talking about. Somebody told me there was some old Rangers player that owns a bunch of bucking bulls that lives somewhere around here.
Now, you blew out your ankle. You said you tore every tendon, everything in it but your Achilles.
Oof.
Yeah, you did some research.
Yeah, man, I want to see who I'm talking to. What was that on a landing, or how did you end up doing that?
Same scenario as when I got my head split open. I tried to jump this fighting bull, and he basically just met me in the air. He'd been jumping before.
You don't need to do this move anymore. It's not good.
Yeah, well, hell, if I'd have quit jumping him, I wouldn't be where I'm at. But, I just tried to run and jump him, and that bull kind of stuck his head up, come up off the ground, and instead of my foot getting over his head, it got wedged in between his foot and his horn, and it just turned it around on me.
Did you knew instantly?
Oh, yeah.
I knew that it was hurt when I tried to get up, and it didn't work.
That's a dead sign right there.
Yeah, it really, honestly, it felt, you know what it feels like when you roll your ankle. That's exactly what it felt like. Like, I felt it crunch, but I tried to get up, and it didn't work, and I was like, okay, something's wrong.
Was the bull on top of you when you tried to get up, like were the other bullfighter?
No, that was actually just to sell the rodeo. And sell the rodeo meaning we had just got done working protection for the bull riding, and they want us to fight a fighting bull at the end just for the fans, like no big money added or anything like that. So we turned him out. We all made a few passes. I went to jump him to tip my hat and be done, and he just met me in the air.
That does.
What's the recovery time on that?
So the recovery time on that was, I want to say it was 10 weeks, if I remember right. It happened at the end of March. No, it was 3 months, actually, because my next bull was the 4th of July. So I had to come home to Haskell and sit on Mom's couch with a bum ankle for a couple months. And then my first one back was Estes Park, Colorado in July.
Is your mom nervous? Does she go watch you much, or does she not want to see you do this?
Yeah, mom and dad go as much as they can. Mom loves to go, dad loves to go. So anything that's remotely close, they'll come to. From what I've heard, Mom is a nervous wreck during bullfights.
I bet.
I personally don't know, don't see it, and obviously I don't want to hear it because nobody wants to be told that somebody's nervous while you're fixing to go compete. But I think the protection, she's just there to watch and enjoy it. But I think the bullfight's going to get to her a little bit.
I would see if my child did that, I'd be awful nervous too, because you're always going to be her little baby. So.
Yeah, we always
That's
will be.
exactly right.
Now you back to your aunt. You dislocated, and so what all did they have to do to fix it?
So they had to do full reconstructive surgery on my ankle. Basically, what they did is they put an anchor screw in there, and then they retied those ligaments and pinned them down to that anchor screw. And then his name is Dr. Frosty Moore. He actually he did what they call a medical zip tie in my ankle, and he put a zip tie in there, and he sucked my ankle back into place with that zip tie. And what he told me is he said I was one of the I wasn't his first, but I was one of his first athletes he was trying it on. And what he said is, as your ankle gets stronger, it'll either break that zip tie when it's strong enough, or that zip tie will hold in place and continue to just be reinforcement.
That's crazy.
Do you know what did yours eventually break?
I would assume it's hold, because he told me I would feel it if it broke, but I can't answer. I do know my anchor screw is backed out a little bit. Like if I can kind of see it right underneath my ankle bone, but he told me if it bugged me, we could pull it out, but it don't bug me too bad.
So your first bull after your reconstruction, are you more nervous than normal?
Yeah, it took me. So unfortunately, I didn't have a whole lot of time to basically get back to normal. I went to Estes and worked protection, just bull riding. But that next weekend, I went out to Salinas, California, which is one of our biggest freestyle bullfights there is in the country. And it's 4 days in a row, 4 bulls, and some of the biggest money. And it took me until that 4th bull to trust it again. I jumped all my bulls that weekend, but I wasn't trusting it to land on it. So I would run, jump, and like kind of come down real gingerly until that last bull finally is when I was like, okay, you're fine.
That's just crazy. I don't know that I could ever fully trust it.
Well, Weston, you have been a really interesting person to have on here. Local guy's done really well for himself. And do you have a website or anything where people can look you up and all your stuff?
I don't. I just got social media. It's just my name, Weston Rutkowski. Nothing crazy. But as far as wanting to follow along, social media pages, but also if you want to follow the BFO, go to bullfightersonly.com. You'll see the full schedule on there, upcoming events, and then some marketing, but recaps from events as well. And there's a full merch line where you can get the replica Weston Rutkowski jerseys and all that type stuff.
Do you have any sponsors or anything?
I do. There's a company called Hunter's Hub. It's with a Z. And basically, it's a website-based membership, and for $150 annually, we give away dream hunts. Actually, this month alone, we're giving away a South Africa Cape Buffalo.
Well, when you get back up this way, you need to come up and go goose hunting with us someday.
Oh man, I'd love to. That's one thing I've done. I did a little bit, obviously, growing up there, but I hadn't done a whole lot of it. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Bad thing is, just come that time it's season for it, is I'm getting ready for the finals. So
that is true.
Well, anytime you're at your parents and you want to come out on a waterfowl hunt, you let us know. We'd love to have you out.
We'd love to do this.
I'll do it.
We'd love to do this in person next time you're out this neck of the woods.
Have you sit down with us?
Let's do it. I appreciate y'all taking out the time to learn a little bit about the BFO and all that. It's always cool to get to broaden our fan base a little bit each time we talk about it. It's a
lot of fun, man. Well, we wish you the best, and I know you got busy couple of weeks coming up, so we wish you the best, good health, all that good stuff, and go out there and kill it, my man.
God bless you and be safe.
Awesome, man. Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Yes,
y'all
sir.
take
Thank
care.
you.
Weston Rutkowski.
Man, what? I'm telling you right now, I could have never done that job. Could you do that?
No.
No, that's good at what he does, the best at what he does. World champion.
3-time world champion.
It's pretty impressive.
Yes, it is.
And likes them rods burritos.
I love them. That's what keeps them.
You people, you locals and your rods, it's just crazy. You get them a free plug. I'd send them a bill for advertising they're getting out of this.
Yep.
All right. Well, I sure appreciate y'all listening to us. God bless everyone. Have a great week. Take care.
Go check out all of our sponsors. Check out Lucky Duck. Check out the Looking Glass Duck Club, Dirty Duck Coffee, Boss Shot Shells, Dive Bomb Industries, Blind Grass, Bangtail Whiskey, Pacific Calls, Gundog Outdoors, Goose Creek Retrievers, and Stanfield Hunting Outfitters.